to start recording.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jaime Trevino, and this is Men to the Table, our first podcast. And to my left is.
I'm Terry Robinson.
So, man, dude, this is the first podcast. It's exciting. Man, it just took some time to get where we at right here, but man, I'm just looking forward to sharing everything that we can to help out people out there in the community.
What we want to build is we want to build a community of men, nothing against women at all, but men holding ourselves accountable for each other.
So it is for y'all women and everybody else, partner, whoever it is. You know, it's we're just trying to better ourselves.
We want to share our experiences.
Absolutely.
We want to be interactive with you to where you can share your experiences. If we strip each other down, not literally speaking, but we become honest with ourselves and with each other, then we are going to become so much better for each other.
Yes, absolutely. So let's get started. Get straight to the point already, man. So, talk a little bit about your life and what where you were from, where you were born, that kind of thing.
Well, I'm from Pasadena, and I was raised in Pasadena, and come from a very large family.
Interesting.
And as I heard one person say it, couldn't say it any better. We didn't even realize that we didn't have what we didn't have. What we had was a mother that loved us very much. We'll get into that story later. But we were fortunate enough to have that strong mother in the household that held everything together.
Nice. Yeah, it's always good to have a strong woman in your life that is able to kind of also give you the strong feminine energy that helps you, in whatever you do in your life, as a man, becoming a man, Yeah, unfortunately with me, I didn't have that part right there, but I became more of a protector for my mom. So she didn't have that courage right there. So I'm from Houston, Texas as well, from East End, and I'm born and raised there. So I have a small little family, so I'm the only one now that's alive in my family. So I just have, my mom, my dad, and then I had a brother, and he passed away years ago. So I'm the last person in the family, but, I'm very blessed that I've gained a new family, including you,
Absolutely. Well, I'm honored to be sitting here with you today.
Same here, man. Same here. I'm excited. Gonna have some fun at the same time, and really not only get to explore, discover, and help others, but man, I mean, I think we're gonna grow.
Absolutely. What we want to do is we want to build that community of men helping each other. And with that, we enrich each other, but we enrich our families, we enrich our community, and we hold each other accountable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so what started for me was that I started learning how to tell you the truth, just to learn how to love myself. I didn't know how I didn't have compassion for myself, So that made it really hard, but I had compassion for others. I just didn't have it for myself, and because of that, I attracted a lot of toxic people in my life. So, but and this is what we'll get into later on in the future. In the episodes in the future.
The one thing about you and I,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason I love you so much is we have a lot of same background.
Yeah.
That we didn't love ourselves. And it didn't matter what we did in life. If you don't love yourself, you're not going to accomplish anything.
Absolutely. And when you do accomplish something, it just, whatever trauma we're dealing with, it just bleeds back through that. And then we just fall back again, And that's the part right there where it's difficult, it's challenging. But what's great is what happened to me is that as I started learning how to love myself and learn how to have compassion for myself, like God, the universe, source, whatever it is out there for y'all, it's like it really brought me positive people in my life now, and then all the people that were toxic just kind of just went away from my life.
What helped me, and it wasn't until a couple of years ago was Freedom Weekend. And if you've ever experienced a men's retreat, it was the most enlightening experience to lay it all out, to get it all out, to strip each other down, as I said earlier, and to be naked to see yourself.
Interesting.
And to have other men recognize things and to encourage you and to pick you up, it changed my life.
Well, let's talk about that. That sounds really good. And where is this event? Does it happen every year? Is it here in Houston? Is it also a specific church that does this, or what is all this about?
Well, the specific church that I'm making reference to is CT. It's Community Transformation Church.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And it's out of Pasadena, and they have twice a year a Freedom Weekend.
Oh, okay.
And it's incredible. It's we have people that go in fighting it, and I was one of them.
Yeah.
And I only was going because of my twin brother saying, you got to do this. It's going to change your life.
Well, shout out to Jerry, man. He's an awesome guy.
And to experience what we experienced, I can't explain it.
Yeah.
You have to experience it, and it really got me to where I get emotional.
Yeah.
But it got me to where I started to really like myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to love myself.
Yeah.
And once I started to love myself, my life changed.
Absolutely. No, I totally understand.
It changed for my children.
Mm-hmm.
It changed for my beautiful new bride, who's everything to me in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful friends. That, it's life has transformed.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to help others to. Let's break down these experiences. Let's be real with one another.
Absolutely.
Because we have a story. And unfortunately, most of every one of us, and I would almost say all of us, it's the foundation of our childhood.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it begins. That's the curses, and that's the bondage that we have to break.
Absolutely. It just puts we have to reprogram ourselves because we're programmed to take in so much toxic, either abuse emotionally, physically. It doesn't matter. It's still trauma, and we need to understand that how that affects us as an adult. And there's this guy that I listen to a lot. His name is Dr. Bruce Lipton, and he's a biologist, doctor of some sort. But he started bringing in the science of subconscious mind, and they started realizing that we're programmed from the age of being born all the way to 7 years old. So if a child is in a environment and the family is very toxic, a lot of negative things going on, violence, whatever the case may be, even talking crap and putting down each other, within the family, well, that child can't really grow intellectually where they need to be because they're in survival mode, not in creative mode. And that will start, what he says, Bruce Lipton, Dr. Bruce Lipton, he's saying that 90% of what we deal with from the age of 0 to 7 years old, that right there is what we become as an adult. So then those traumas start bleeding through our relationships. It starts bleeding through our career. It starts bleeding through everything that we are involved in, So this is something that we want to bring this out as well to help others.
When you and I got together, we started talking about building this that we're finally here today.
Correct.
It's not going to be a one podcast thing.
No,
This
not
is
at all.
going to be a continuous thing. We're going to be, and we have to be honest with each other. We have to give you our true experiences, no matter how embarrassing, as a man, to admit some of the things that we have to admit. It's not embarrassing. It's needed. It's the only way that we're going to get out of that bondage that has held us for so long.
That's true. Yeah, definitely, definitely. It definitely will help us build courage to be able to face that too, because that's another part right there. That's the number one part that really struggles in many people's lives, including myself. You know.
Well, it's time to strip the machismo.
Oh, absolutely.
It's time to be honest.
Yeah.
It's time to not only share our experiences. We want to share your experiences. Through our podcasting, we're going to have guests. We're going to. We're so excited about where we're headed to, and the community that we're going to build, and the honesty and the truth and love that we're going to share, because that's our purpose.
Absolutely. If what we can do is provide value for y'all, and that's what's most important. If we can help change people's lives and just whatever little aspect, that'd be great. Not that we have the power to change people's life, but at least we can be a beacon.
Absolutely.
That's all. That's all we're trying to do. And reach out and just get out there and what really helped us is that we got our ass whooped in life, man. That's it. Bottom line, we just was able to overcome some of it. Not all of it yet, but some of it. And with this podcast, now we have not only the experience of what we dealt with and how to articulate what we experienced, but also, share this with you, and so it makes it a little bit easier, it really, we've had some great private conversations. There's like, man, this got to be a podcast right here, man. We can do something with this, and we're there, and we're surrounded by positive people in our lives. Our wives are very supportive, and just want to also reach out and say thank you to my wife, Gisela, and also Blanca, your wife, and also Elva, she's just been amazing. They just, without that strong support, oh man, we wouldn't believe that we can do what we're doing right now.
Well, behind every good man is a better woman.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That I believe.
And another thing, guys, do want to let you know about you hear a lot of toxicity, masculine toxicity and stuff, and but I'm very proud of having the masculine that I have inside, and at the same time, as I started learning how to love myself, I started to understand the feminine side. So it makes it, it's just, there's just a positive, great balance there, So when I talking to a friend and she's a female, whatever, she's a human being. To reach to that level of consciousness, to see that's what I'm really proud of for myself. Because back then it wasn't like that. It was like, oh man, she's a chick, man, that's good looking and that's it. And like, no, it's not that.
No.
It's not even there no more. And how I got there was so one day, man, so I was dealing with something, man, and I've gone to church. I'm not saying church is amazing, I love it, don't get me wrong. I volunteered at Lakewood Church many years, and it's great, but it could never really, I still didn't know what I was dealing with. I was always searching. The problem is that if I wasn't still in a toxic environment trying to better myself, that makes it very, 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 very difficult. And then, okay, what happened was, I remarried to Gisela, wonderful wife, strong woman. And, but one day in our relationship, it wasn't towards her, it was nothing like that, but I was dealing with something and I got pissed off at myself. So if you don't have compassion for yourself, maybe this might help you out here, or help you understand if you're going through this. Have you ever messed up, made a mistake, whatever the case may be, but then you start talking crap about yourself? and you get so pissed off about yourself and you start beating yourself up emotionally. Okay, that was happening, and that was normal for me. I couldn't do that for others, especially the people I care for, but I did that to myself. And I don't know what happened, but Gisela saw me and she was crying, and that made me stop. And when she was crying, she says, I just don't see how, if you see what I'm seeing, you're an amazing human being, but you don't see that. And that's what hurts me. And when I saw that and I saw her crying, that was the beginning. I stopped and it's like, okay, there's something wrong with me. Didn't know that it was, but there was something wrong with me. So then that was the beginning. And I just kept on searching, but now I was at a more better place. I didn't have a lot of toxic people in my life anymore. And then when that occurred, I just kept on researching. That's why I know so much about, Dr. Ramani. I'm searching and searching and searching. I'm looking for help, right? Trying to understand. Then when that occurred, there was just one day. This happened actually 3 years ago, and I just saw something about inner child, and that how to connect. So I gave it a try, and dude, man, it's like that's where meditation kicked in for me, and I started understanding it a little bit more and more. And for 2 weeks, man, I would just like every time I would revisit my inner child, I could see the little kid wearing the same clothes like when I was at that age. And every time I would visit my inner child, I just cried, and it felt like the best way I can explain it, if someone that you love passed away, but you had an opportunity to see him again, and you just can't believe it. Okay, that's the way I can describe that every time. And it took 2 weeks because I did it every day, and it was hard, but I had to face it. I had to go through it. And then when that happened, that's when I kind of like understood a little bit more. And when I understood a little bit more, that's when I realized, okay, cool. That's where I learned about Dr. Bruce Lipton. And then he says, like, dude, if you need to reprogram your mind, there's 3 different ways. I couldn't remember the other 2s, but one was hypnotherapy. So then that's when I went to hypnotherapy, and that was the game changer for me. And here we are today.
You and I have had such in-depth conversations.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to find out who we are. We promise you that. We're gonna be honest. We want to build this community of men. We want to be able to trust each other, to hold each other accountable, to love each other. What some people call constructive criticism.
Yeah.
I call it constructive love. Because it's love.
Yeah.
We have to be honest. It's time. It's time. We live in a crazy time right now.
Yeah, and there's just less human connection.
Well, not just from the COVID, and we're not going to get into why it is, but it is. There's so much hate and dislike, and people don't even know each other, but because you're this or you're that, or you're this color or that color, Democrat or Republican, whatever it may be, it's pure hate. And the only way we're going to stop it is if we connect with each other. We're honest with each other. We love each other.
Absolutely.
I'm a firm believer. We're all disciples. God wants us to be fisher of men.
Yeah.
And all He's asking for us to do is to love each other. Yeah. That's all. It's pretty simple.
Absolutely.
And we've made things so complicated. But again, this is going to be an ongoing, we're going to break it down on our experiences, where we come from. And I think it's really going to help. It's not only going to help us,
Correct.
because we continuously have to help one another. It's going to help everyone out there to be able to say, they experience what I've experienced.
Yeah, this was
I'm not different. We're all the same.
Correct.
And we are all the same.
Correct.
We strive for one thing. We all want to be better parents than what our parents were. We want to be better people. But we have to, again, and you're going to hear me say this quite a bit, those bondages, those generational curses.
Correct.
You know, it's up to us to break it.
Correct.
It's the only way we're going to do it. And you know, men, we're responsible. Now, don't take this the wrong way. Okay, men are responsible for their household by God's word. Okay, I'm not getting into religion. One thing that I want people to know out there: you're not going to have us speak religion. You're not going to have us speak politics.
Correct.
We're not this or that. You know, we're going to speak a lot about love, and about honesty,
compassion, having a connection with human connections. Yeah, absolutely.
So we're not going to be that podcast that's going to get into those realms of the politics, those realms of this or that. It's exactly what we want to do. You know, we all deserve second chances.
Correct. Yeah.
And I'm a product.
Same.
I'm a product of more than second chances.
Yes, correct. Yeah,
But,
no, I get it.
But, you know, we're at a point in our lives that because of what we've gone through, it has made us who we are.
Yeah.
And I truly love. And sometimes I get burned, but that's okay. I'd much rather get burned than to stop loving.
You know, that right there, what you just said is perfect. It's really hard. It is, because and I get it. You put your guards up, man, I totally get it. But from my experience, when I started knowing how to love myself more and more and more, and having more compassion for myself, I get what you're saying, in the sense that, yeah, you get burned by somebody and they betrayed you, they did whatever that wasn't right and that was bad, right? Whatever that was that hurt you, violated you, whatever that was, right? But that just shows that your cup is full of love, and it overpours. So to get to that level, you become more genuine, not only to yourself, to your wife, your children, everybody that you even make contact with. For example, I notice you do the same thing too. We're really genuine happy for our friends in Facebook that they're doing something good's happening, and we do positive things and we write comments on it. We want to uplift.
Absolutely.
And it's genuine. It's like, I'm genuinely happy for that person. To get to that level, man, that starts from loving yourself, learning how to do that.
One strong word that I rely heavily on, and I want people to really think about this word. It's so powerful, and it's grace.
Mm-hmm.
Grace is so incredible. And grace is loving, and grace is honest, and grace is forgiving, and grace is not holding resentment. But the one thing that my wife has taught me is to have grace for myself.
Yeah.
And that has meant everything to me, because you and I, we're people pleasers.
Mm-hmm.
We want to help, we want to love. But you and I have agreed that we were the last to think of ourselves.
Correct.
Now, we're not that. We're self-centered, but we're also not the last person we think of.
Correct.
And it's okay, because you got to be good with yourself before you can be good with anything else.
Yeah.
You got to love yourself before you can love truly love anything or anyone else.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And when you touched about the people pleasing, you know, that comes from codependent, you know, and that's something that we need to readdress as well. But that makes you a badass because in a way, we didn't take on the bully part of it. Where now the Tim Kennedy's a badass dude. He's got this his he teaches people combat and all this other kind of stuff. So he's a military guy, right? He's in Austin, I believe, and his name is he's got a company called Sheepdog. He calls it a sheepdog because he calls it sheepdog because the sheepdog is the one that takes out the wolves. You know, and it was like, oh, okay, kind of like in the cartoons with the coyote and the sheepdog when they would always fight, but then when they're done for their break or they're done for their day of coyote stinging the sheep and the sheepdog getting coyote, they become friends right afterward. You know what I'm saying? So it has that kind of that thing. So he called it sheepdog. It's like, oh, I get it. They're the ones that actually have compassion, but yet they know how to handle things. You know, and but yeah, that's something we definitely need to dig deep into that right there because that's something that, you know, another thing too, when we talk to others, I think we can also identify certain people or friends that have that people pleasing or that codependent, but we're very gentle with that and we don't take it for granted because we're that too.
Exactly.
You know, so it's
and as we go further into our series, you know, so much is going to come out. We have experienced quite a bit in our lives, and we're no different than anyone else.
Not at all.
But we have definitely have experienced abuse. We've experienced physical, mental.
Yes.
Yeah. We're gonna dig into death.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. Being a father. The mistakes that I've made. You know, and what I've learned, and how I was able to keep my family together.
Absolutely.
You know, so yeah, absolutely. Or our family, you know, your family too, you know, so, and it all just starts stemming from being a better version of you know, but yeah.
And it starts today.
Absolutely. Man, dude, this was awesome for our first podcast right here, first episode. Everyone, if you want to follow us, you know, you can follow us on Facebook, which is Men to the Table. Also in Instagram, it's also Men to the Table. We're going to be putting out content little by little through there as we're growing more and more. We definitely want to be bringing in people that are inspirational as well to interview. Other than that, you got anything else, brother?
I love you.
Love you too, man. Definitely, man. Definitely. This is going to be awesome. It's just going to be great. Take care, man.